Grow your career with a Master of Agribusiness degree from Kansas State University. Using the latest technology in distance education, we strive to deliver a world-class degree to a global audience in the food, animal health, and agriculture industries. We are dedicated to ensuring flexibility throughout the program, offering completion from anywhere and a variety of course schedules to work on your time. We focus on having a direct connection to the current professional landscape with industry experienced instructors preparing coursework with immediate applicability. During the 2.5-year program, you will have the opportunity to network with your fellow classmates to build professional connections around the world. 3 start dates are offered at multiple campus locations. Learn more about the award-winning program and find out how to apply by contacting us today.
Well, thanks for joining us here for our Washington Week in Review, talking with Agri-Pulse Senior Editor Phil Brasher. And Phil, obviously the story of the week on Capitol Hill, trade progress on Trade Promotion Authority. And you mentioned we're really fast-tracking the fast track. We had a markup in the Senate and House respective committees on back-to-back days, both going into the late hours of the night. And now we're moving forward to a point where we could possibly have progress on these votes on the floor of these respective chambers, and especially with the Japanese Prime Minister coming to town next week to address Congress on Wednesday. This is going to be very important to demonstrate American priorities for trade.
Oh, absolutely. This was bullet train action this week. We had the Senate Finance Committee on Wednesday took up the fast track trade bill that sets up the fast track process for approving the trade agreement with the Pacific Rim, including Japan, and eventually possibly with the European Union as well. The Senate Finance Committee approved it 20-6 on Wednesday after a lengthy debate over amendments, and then the House Ways and Means Committee last night approved virtually the same bill by a vote of 25-13. So yes, we're ready to go to the floor now in both the House and the Senate.
And this whole process has really just been interesting as far as political joinings are concerned. Right now, you've got someone who ran against President Obama on the vice presidential ticket in 2012 in Paul Ryan, the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, now trying to give the president more authority on trade agreements and trying to just give the administration more power in general. And now you've got a lot of very far-right Republicans and very far-left Democrats joining together to fight against the president.
Right, the politics are fascinating. And the other thing that was interesting yesterday, even as the Ways and Means Committee was debating the Trade Promotion Authority bill, fast track, and House Democrats were proposing amendment after amendment, 19 amendments at all, trying to pick apart various parts of the bill. President Obama was across town speaking to his base, a group of liberal activists, telling them why they needed to support trade, why it was good for workers, why it was good for the country. He said at one point that we can't stop the global economy at our shores. So yeah, fascinating. You have Paul Ryan and President Obama on one side, and much of the Democratic Party, especially represented in the House, very much opposed to his trade agenda.
And the timing of this is particularly important. I mean, we mentioned Prime Minister Abe's visit to Washington next week, and Japan has been kind of a big hang-up as far as these TPP negotiations are concerned, that being the Trans-Pacific Partnership. A lot of talk has been given to Japan and their agricultural hang-ups. So specifically in the agricultural community, this Trans-Pacific Partnership and Trade Promotion Authority have a lot of consequences.
For agriculture, everything is about Japan. Because Japan is such a huge market and they have such high barriers to a whole range of agricultural commodities. And Japan has been holding out to the end here in terms of making critical, politically difficult concessions. And they've been waiting to see that President Obama would have this fast-track process in place so that Congress could not amend the agreement once they have made their final deal.
Yeah, certainly interesting times as far as trade are concerned. And just switching gears a little bit here and talking about waters of the United States. We mentioned this briefly in our video last week, talking about it's a bill that would allow some interesting jurisdictional changes within EPA, depending on who you listen to on that issue. Last week we saw the Republicans work on kind of a two-pronged approach, a bill to just repeal the waters of the United States rule entirely, and also an appropriations measure. And that appropriations measure saw a little bit of action this week.
Right, we're one step closer to a showdown with the White House, between the White House and the Congress over this issue. Last week on Wednesday, the House Appropriations Committee approved a bill that funds the Army Corps of Engineers, sent it on to the floor. The Democrats proposed an amendment to strip out this policy rider that would block the implementation of this waters of the U.S. rule. Two Democrats broke ranks and voted with the majority Republicans to keep that provision in the bill. So now it moves probably next week to the House floor for debate there.
So showdowns over trade and water policy continuing this week. Phil, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
For Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Thanks for joining us here for Agri-Pulse Washington Week in Review.